Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're back on GT Sport and we're back doing what we've been saying we're going to do for quite some time now. Quite a few months I've been saying I wanted to do some form of tutorials, helping people out and finding stuff out about the game, you know, tips and tricks. And I think it's about time to start doing that now. So we're starting with part 1 and we're going straight into the Group 1 cars with their hybrid system, because I think this is a topic that not many people know about. It's something that there's probably about 80% of drivers, even some that I did not know about this. A lot of the top drivers did not know about this going into some of the races. And I actually took the time to work out how to create more hybrid power with these Group 1 cars, because obviously hybrid power, it's something that you can create more of. It's something that a lot of the real life drivers, they alter their driving styles, their car setups to create more power. So it's something I felt that we could do, and we're going to also go into some more tutorials later on, in like every couple of weeks, do a new video, whether it's 2 to 3 weeks, do a new video on something different, maybe brake balance, tire wear, traction control system, you know, if you're going to use that, why, you know, how to use it without traction control off, tips for driving with no traction control. So we're going to go into this video. This is all about the hybrid system on Group 1 cars. Now the reason I did this was because at Fuji in the FIA event, watch this, I come out the corner better than the guy behind me, but look at his hybrid power. Some of this is slipstream, but the majority of this was pure hybrid through 3rd and 4th gear, where he was managing to, every time we got on the straight. Now I defended it for a while, but eventually it just got the better of me and he got past me and took me for the lead. That P1 hadn't actually pitted at that point. So I went back and wanted to know what was causing people to get more hybrid power, because I wasn't 100% sure. I knew it would be something to do with the brake balance, purely because of Project Cars. I remember doing an esports competition and messing around with the brake balance on a hybrid car and that, and it created more power. So I went into time trial, Le Mans with no chicane, very easy track and easy, got the hybrid power down to 0%, got it around 140, 141 miles per hour. I had to work out this car. It kept, obviously when the revs hit a certain point, it dipped down in speed. So I wanted to find like a level that we could use to get the speed fairly equal. You can see from zero balance, from 140, 141 miles per hour, we got it down to 29%. Regeneration from the braking, and that's at dead middle from zero balance, so right in the middle. 29% power regenerated from 0%. So we're going to go back to the same type of speed now. We got rid of all the hybrid again, and we're going to go to the front bias and see what that produces. Now we're going to have a little look there. You can see we're all the way to the front with that right arrow, and you can see we're on 0% before we're going to brake, and we're going to slam on the brakes and see what type of power we regenerate when we go to front bias. Now this is really interesting. You can see straight away 21% is regenerated when we've gone all the way to the front. So we've lost 8% power by going from 0% to -5. Now this is in the Audi hybrid car, the 2018 model. Obviously a very sophisticated hybrid system. The other hybrid system on some of the other cars is not the same. We're going to go through them in a minute, but that's quite a big difference. So we're now going to go all the way to the rear and see what that creates. This should technically create even more power now. So 21 was all the way to the front. Let's see what happens when we go all the way to the rear and see what hybrid is regenerated when we slam on the brakes from the same type of speed. So we're going 140, 141 miles per hour, and we're going to slam on them brakes. And look at the difference. We're now on 34%. So we've got 5% more hybrid regenerated just from 3rd gear, when from 0 to 5, but a massive difference of 13% when we've gone from obviously all the way to the front to all the way to the rear. And that is quite surprising. I couldn't believe how much this was. Now we're now in the different hybrid car. We're now driving the Toyota to see what this car is like. Now there's something different with this car. It creates its energy slightly different. So we're going to see slightly differences, but again, it's all the way to the rear. So brake balance to the rear is going to create more hybrid power than putting it to the front. You can see there, as we're at 1 miles per hour, now the reason I do 1 miles per hour, which I'll talk about in a minute, is 33% power regenerated there from leaving it dead on in the middle. So we're going to obviously alter this, and so you can see the reason I have to do it 1 miles per hour is because this hybrid system on the Toyota carries on regenerating when you're not moving, even when you're not on the brakes. So this car, if you're going to do lift and coasting with this car, it is very good because it's going to keep regenerating the hybrid system. something that I was trying to work out. So let's have a little look now as we're going to try and do the stop again. There you can see it's still generating. I had to test this out when I was on there because I was like, how is that doing that? I was really confused, but it's because it's going to keep regenerating the hybrid when it's off throttle, when it's just engine braking. Now we're going to go all the way to the front with the bias and see what the difference was from the previous go when we were in the middle. You can see braking from that speed, flat on the limiter again, and you can see we've now got 28%, a 5% drop from when it was in the middle. So it's not as big a difference with this car, but it's still a difference. So now we're going to go all the way to the rear with the brake bias, which should then generate us even more power again. So we'll have a little look. Now these are the only cars you can really do this test in because they have the hybrid system showing on what percentage you're using and regenerating. So now we're obviously there, 0%, 5 to the rear. We're going to slam on the brakes and we're going to see what sort of power we regenerate now. So you can see now we've gone up to 36%, which is an 8% difference from obviously going all the way to the front to all the way to the rear. So going to the rears give us 8% more power, which is very interesting. Again, not as much as the Audi, but there is a difference. Now with this Toyota, however, if you watch now, we're going to lift and coast and look at the power on the hybrid system increasing as we're just coasting. So the Toyota, however, not as strong at regenerating through the braking. The difference obviously going from rear to front, etc., but it does regenerate through lift and coasting, which is very good if you're obviously in a long endurance race trying to save fuel, because it's still going to regenerate its battery in terms of charging it up for the hybrid system. However, the TS030, the other hybrid, the older 2012 model, does not regenerate power through the brake system. I think it's incorporated into the gears. If you read the information, it's done in a different method, so it doesn't actually change anything by altering the brake bias with that car. So the Porsche, however, does regenerate through the brake bias. However, you do not get an in-car display like you do with these cars showing you the hybrid system and what how it's decreasing or increasing. For some reason, they haven't incorporated it into the Porsche. I do believe that it does show in real life, but they haven't incorporated it into the in-game cockpit, which is strange. It would have been nice to have it just so we can compare. But however, when you test the Porsche out, you do realise that it's exactly the same as the Audi. It regenerates its power by going to the rear bias, and it feels very similar to the Audi in terms of how much it's regenerating. And I think that it's like the Audi. It does not regenerate through lift and coasting, because I did test it out at Le Mans very quickly, and it didn't feel like it was getting any sort of power regeneration when you just lift off the throttle. So I did test that out. Obviously, I've not put it into the video because you can't 100% say for sure, but I'm 99.9% sure it's identical to the Audi. So going to the rear with that car again is very effective. In terms of racing, for racetracks, you're gonna have to be careful in daily races, because with the higher tire rate, going all the way to the rear can create a bit of wear on the rear tires, obviously, and make the rear a little bit unstable. So you might want to start the race when the grip's high. You probably can run a few laps with 5 to the rear. Then you might want to go down slowly to about 3 to the rear, but you're still going to regenerate quite good hybrid system recovery by doing that. And it's quite interesting because I think not a lot of people knew about this. I didn't know about this a couple of weeks ago. Wanted to get this video out so that everyone's equal in terms of knowing that going to the rear on the brake bias is creating more hybrid power for these Group 1 cars. Obviously, it's only for the hybrid cars. You know, this isn't going to work on your normally aspirated engines because they do not have a hybrid unit, and they don't have any hybrid system. So don't be going to your basic Group 1 cars that are not Le Mans hybrid cars and trying to do this, because you're just going to kick the rear out and probably slide around the track and just wear your tyres out and gain no time at all. So just bear that in mind. It's for the Audi 2018 Le Mans car and the Toyota TS050 and the Porsche 919 hybrid. They're the 3 cars where this rear brake bias is actually creating more power. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed to the channel. I am going to be doing more in this series of top tips. We're going to go into the brake bias, I think, for the next top tips video, and then we'll just work it out as we go along, trying to always get a top tip video out every couple of weeks. Even if it's every 3 weeks, it's just going to be a case of just getting them out as much as I can. It might not always be on GT Sport. It might be a broad selection of games, you know, incorporating Assetto Corsa, GT Sport, Project Cars, stuff like that, stuff that you can take into them games like trail braking. Not everyone, I know a lot of people do know and understand about trail braking, but there are people out there who probably don't fully understand it, and maybe a tutorial video on that would help them out. Anyway, Thanks again for watching. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed, and like I say, click that notification button. We are uploading as much content as possible, and we do stream as well. Thanks again for watching, everyone.